Hey everybody, Rachel here, your self-help socialite, bringing you the best events and programs for a kick-ass business and life. And today I'm very honored to be here with Gemma Stone, psychologist, guide, coach, master of everything. And we're going to hear a little bit about one of her retreats that she has coming up and anything else that you want to share with us today. Hi.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome. So just to give some background, Gemma and I met at World Domination Summit this summer, which for those of you that don't know about it, don't worry, you'll be hearing about that soon as well. And of course, like redhead to redhead, as soon as I saw her, it was like, who are you and what do you do? And I came back and I checked out her website and I was just like, totally fell in love right away. And then recently heard about her retreat coming up. And everybody, you know that I'm like, world traveler and always up to new things. So that's why we're here today, to really hear about that. But we never actually even had the chance for me to like hear like your story, like what do you do? Like tell us a little bit about, psychologist, coach, guide. It's nice to see somebody in the coaching space that has that background. So tell us like a little bit about how you got to where you are today.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of has like a sad start, but there's a happy ending. So
Yeah.
I kind of had a rough start to life. There's a lot of like darkness and suffering in my early life. And so in a desperate attempt to heal myself, I dove into psychology and um started to study, and I started just kind of like reading the books and absorbing the information and trying to heal myself. I struggled with depression and anxiety and panic attacks and really heavy stuff for a really long time. So the psychology background really comes from the desire to heal myself and then learn how to help others.
I love it. Well, and I don't know if you know this about me. I used to be a teacher, French teacher, and I know now, like in the coaching world, that we always, teach what we really need to learn for ourselves. And that's why, I always find it that those are the best teachers, really, because they actually understand from personal experience. So I do want to dive in right away, or at least like with the retreat, because that's coming up soon. And I know, New Year's is right around the corner, and people want to know, like, what can they do to make 2014 amazing? So, what do you have in store and lined up and cooked up for us?
Yeah, so the Great Life Redesign retreat is in April, and it's really the retreat that I've always wanted to run. So on my 25th birthday, I sort of woke up to the realization that I wasn't really living my truthful life. I was living this like constructed life based on like what my ego wanted, and I was worried about like rejection and fear, and just it was kind of a heavy, gross time in my life. And when I had that awakening, that moment of like there's another kind of life that needs to be lived right now.
Seriously.
Yeah, and I just started doing it. Like I started pulling together all the materials, everything that I learned, like with all my psychology studies and then all of my self-help studies, and kind of blended it together to figure out what are the basics that people need to know in order to live their great life. And I designed I guess I define the great life as your truthful life.
Mhm.
And what I find is that when people are living a kind of a false life, a life that's really not the life their soul wants to live, that's when there's more suffering.
Totally.
So yeah, that's what the Great Life Redesign Retreat is all about. It's about designing your great life, the life that your soul, your true self wants to live.
I love that. And so, for just like to remind everybody again, like I am queen of like vision boards. Many of you know, like I've gotten into the travel business past 7 years, like career of my life because of doing these kind of events and programs where you sit down and you're like, wait a minute. I was teaching French. It was fabulous. Um, but it wasn't living up to expectations for really like what I wanted to see in my life. And it was when I sat down with a pad and paper and started like really like, wait a minute, how do we get out of the box? How do we think about what could be possible? And so this retreat sounds fabulous because, by the way, like I did it 7 years ago, but I do it every quarter, every year, like on an ongoing basis to say, how can we raise the game and just keep making things like better and better? And so I definitely would love to come, and it sounds like fabulous. So where is it? Oh, but doing it in your apartment is amazing, and I still always recommend that. But having somebody like Gemma with you to guide you, who has like that background clinical experience as well as just created this life for herself, um, and outside of your life, it makes it so much easier, right? Wouldn't you say, to like actually get out of your own way and start doing some of that planning.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Like same as you, like I do the life design process 1 or 2 times a year just to make sure that I'm staying on track.
Right.
Right, there's something really special about getting out of your own environment because what happens is that when you're just doing life design in your own space, the space that you're familiar in, your brain kind of gets stuck in the old patterns, the old ways of thinking and the old ways of seeing. And by changing up the environment,
Hmm.
you almost provide your brain with new information. And so then new decisions and new beliefs and new thoughts and new goals and all of these things can be more easily created.
I love it. So where
Mhm.
exactly is it? And tell us, like, just I
What-
saw some kind of castle and I was like, what is this? I want to go there. And it was so like affordable too. So like give us like the full detail, like where, when, how much.
Yeah, outstanding. Okay, so it's at the Banff Springs Hotel, which is like a Canadian national treasure. It's this Scottish castle, like nestled right in the Rocky Mountains. It's spectacular.
I love it. And I also, by the way, to pause you, I do love the fact I just came back from Canada. So like FYI, I love Canadians. I love Canada. Something like very refreshing up there. Like, I don't know, something in the air. Anyway, go on. Okay.
Oh, thank you. You can be an honorary Canadian
I
now.
love it. I know. I'm like, I'm really from Montreal. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, so it's at the castle. We take it's a it's a lot about like kind of self-reflection. So we make sure that we do some nature breaks so that you get to like enjoy the spectacular location. And the Banff Springs Hotel is like the epitome of Canadian courtesy. So they are like over the top, kind and nice and thoughtful. So that's one of the reasons why I picked it, because I really want people to feel like nurtured and pampered, and it's a gorgeous location. So it's April 25th to 27th, and we do it once a year, and the price is $500. And
Oh my
because I'm
God.
a registered psychologist, then often people can get it claimed under like insurance if you have insurance, or you can write it off as a health expense. So there's lots of like little ways to make it as
Oh
manageable as
my
possible.
God. Wow. And so, like, anybody that's watching this, like, I go to a lot of events, conferences, and retreats, and that is like a steal. Like, seriously,
Yeah.
sign up yesterday, get on the list. Like, I love it. And so, for how many days is it for?
It starts on the Friday night, and then we go till Sunday afternoon. So if anyone needs to fly out to be home on Monday, there's lots of time to get back to the airport.
Perfect. Perfect. And so, like, what can people expect to, like, come in with and then leave with?
hmm So coming in with is a lot of thought around what is it that you want to change in your life, like what's really working well and what's not working so well, what are the areas of life that you're really wanting to design your life around. So we usually like break it up into different categories. So finances, career, relationships, and internal self stuff. So an idea of sort of like what's feeling a bit edgy and angsty for you, and then we move through the process. So Friday night's all about releasing. So we're going to make some space for the things that we're going to bring in for your great life. So we're getting rid of old ideas about yourself, old beliefs, roles that maybe you're attached to that are not feeling so awesome, labels. We do a lot of like kind of inner cleansing. And then Saturday's all about like diving into your true self. Like who is your true self, and how does she or he really want to live? And we do some really soulful connection. Saturday afternoon, we have some guides there, and the guides are all specialists in different areas because I don't know
Ooh.
everything.
Yes.
So the
Okay.
guides can answer questions about like what do you do with your money, or like how do you talk to your husband, or how do you parent your children? Because I don't know all about it.
I love that. I love
So
that. Okay.
Saturday afternoon, you get to like pick the brains of all these people that specialize in a different area of life.
Hmm.
And then, oh my gosh, Saturday night is outstanding. We have a huge party where everybody's invited. So everybody from the retreat is invited, but also friends and family, anyone who wants to come. And we have a great big celebration. And we start with like a family friendly, so the kids can come and like do their little dance. And then we move into a big party. And then Sunday is all about integration and how do you maintain the momentum moving into back into your life. Because I don't want this to be another weekend where you get inspired, but then you go back to life and everything just goes back to normal.
Exactly, exactly. I totally love that. Okay. And then does the 500, does that include like accommodations or is that separate?
Yes, so the 500 includes like all the retreat materials and the meals,
Oh,
and the Banff Springs has offered us like a really amazing rate. So normally it's $400 a night, and they give us a rate of 189 a
oh
night.
my God. That is like insane. Okay. All right. So I mean, there's a ton more details. I'm not going to go into it, but so where can they find this information?
Yes, head over to my website, gemmastone.org, and if you click on events, the retreat is right under that link.
I love it. I love it. Okay. And so April is like, it's coming up around the corner, and I'm a big planner, and I know people have such busy schedules. So, well, first of all, you mentioned like people with kids, people with husbands. Like, is this just for women? Is this open to men, couples? Like, what kind of people do you think this is going to be a perfect fit for?
It's actually for everyone. So
Love.
we've had, younger participants that come. I really do suggest that it's kind of participants that are able to sort of think consciously about their life.
Hmm.
So I would probably say like, 16 would usually be the youngest,
Okay.
all the way up to like 90, 100, however old you are. So there's no real limit on the age.
Okay.
And it's men and women. Granted, we do have a lot of really amazing women that come out, and the few men that come out are incredibly special.
I love it. No, that would sound like, for me, I know married, like that would be so many events are designed like just for women, which is definitely fabulous, but it's also cool to come to an event with your husband, with your partner, where you can really like plan the year together. And
Yes.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like to do for couples that come, because we do have couples that come, is each person designs their life the way they want it to be, and then they get an extra life design process so that they can go home and as a couple say, this is what, my true self wants, and then this is what my true self wants, and then how do we design a relationship so that both of us are honored within this? So
Amazing.
that's another little bonus that we give to couples.
Ooh.
And if you want to bring your kids to, the Banff Springs has a childcare program. So if you want to come with your hubby, you need someone to take care of the kids can be taken care of, and then they can come join us for the party on the Saturday night if they want.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Very cool. And then if people want to get started, like, do you have any other tips to like for people that maybe just like they can't make the retreat this time of year, like, do you have a number one tip that people can at least start to going into the end of 2013, heading into 14? What's, maybe your top two or three tips that people can start to do to look at, what's up next for them?
Yeah. So probably the first piece is what are you ready to let go of? Because often we just don't have space in our life for anything else, so we need to let go of things. So I call this the sacred yes and the honoring no. So the sacred yes is like the hell yes, I want that in my life. I'm going to keep it or I'm going to create it. And honoring no is I love me and I love you and I have to say no.
Right.
So it's very so a releasing process around like what are you going to say no to next year? What do you want to let go of? What roles have you outgrown? What labels are stale? What belief patterns are just ancient and you're ready to let go of?
I
So
love
do a bit of awareness around releasing.
that. Hmm.
And then the next piece is what are you going to bring in now that you've created the spaciousness? What does your true self want? And the distinction between true self and false self is really important. So the true self is like the soul, it's the core of who you are. It's that the intuition, when you feel it, you start to like expand. That's all soulful stuff. And the false self is all the like I should be doing this.
Right.
Everyone else that has this job does it that way, so I should too. Like it's a lot of shooting on yourself is false self.
Shoulding we got to kick shoulding to the curb. Okay, cool. And number three?
Yeah, and then number three, I would say, is to plan like little action steps. So it's really important to have a dream and a vision and goal, but even more important than that is to take some steps to make some sort of movements in the direction of your goals and dreams. And even if it's like really simple and easy, I call them like ridiculously easy steps. Take those ridiculously easy steps because every time you do, you get a little bit closer to living your great life.
I love that. I love that. So thank you so much. So we have like number one, totally release, look at what is no longer serving you. And it could be relationships, it could be a belief, like you said, it could be just like roles in your life that maybe you don't know you don't want anymore. And then two, we said was, oh my God, I'm just totally blanking out. Oh, what do you want to create? What do you want to create? Right. But what I wanted to say about that is sometimes we make these like humongous things like, oh, I'm living in New York and I want to move to California. Like, okay, like, and I love number three, which is baby steps, right? One foot in front of the other, just practice. Maybe you book a trip there. Maybe you talk to somebody who lives there. Whatever it is that's on your board, like just what can you do today that would take you one step closer? So I completely love that. And I am a huge believer in experiential learning. And so I highly recommend this retreat. It sounds fabulous. You may even see me there, maybe even with my husband too. And so excited. Thanks so much for joining us and looking forward to talking with you soon.
Me too. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, bye, guys. Rachel, your self help socialite with the hottest events and programs for a kick ass business and life. Bye.
Bye.